21. Skip way ahead of with me in question 21. We all know the leaders of the Nazi regime were brought to trial at Nuremberg shortly after the war, and there's obviously a lot of questions to be talked about there. Would you just simply, in question 29, tell me one of the crimes that the alleged criminals were charged with? Steve, what were they charged with? Crimes against humanity. Now, that, of course, was the killing of the Jews and everybody else that unfortunately went to their death. Lauren, what else were they charged with?
War crimes.
War crimes, meaning violations of the norms of war. You're not supposed to enslave civilians. The Nazis did that anyway. You're not supposed to work civilians to death like they did the Soviets. And Brittany, what's another charge?
Crimes against peace.
Crimes against peace. The Nazis were charged with violating international agreements. You violated the Kellogg-Briand Pact. You waged war, they said. And what else?
Conspiracy.
Conspiracy. You conspired with Hitler to exterminate the Jews and mass amounts of other people. Please look at discussion question 3. Were all 4 of those charges that were leveled against the accused totally valid? Just take one charge at a time. Henry, were they all valid charges?
I would say all except war crimes. If they were charged for breaking the Kellogg-Briand Pact, why weren't we? I mean, probably because we won, but I think that we should have been charged for breaking the pact also.
And that was one of the lines of defense. Good for you. Chad, were all 4 of these charges valid?
I agree with Henry. I think it's crimes against peace that are the one that doesn't make sense logically, and then that's never really been a prosecutable crime before, and suddenly they just came up with this because of it. I don't think they ever would charge people with that if it hadn't been for all of the human rights issues and everything that came as a result of the war.
Right. So crimes against peace then is a bogus charge. Everybody agree with that? That's a trumped up charge. Steve, you agree with that, right? Okay, fair enough. All right, is there any other of the prosecution's charges that you might say isn't very valid? Are they all valid? They're all valid? Really? Well, then let's look at the lines of defense. Would you please skip ahead with me to question number 24? When the defense was given a chance to speak on behalf of the defendants, what was one of their arguments? What's one of their arguments?
Conspiracy is headed by a dictator is a contradiction because conspiracy is only within Anglo-American law.
That's right. That's right. Don't blame us. Hitler was in charge. We weren't, and we weren't part of a conspiracy. Drop that charge. Kyle, isn't that a valid point? I mean, the Nazi state was run by Hitler, not by us. We were just part of the, part of the mass of people taking orders.
Yeah, but it's not countries that commit crimes. It's people. Countries can give orders, but people do the deed. So.
Well put. Steve, go ahead.
So when you look at the Wise conference, they all agreed that they were going to follow Hitler no matter what.
Excellent. Good for you. Well, that knocks down that defense argument. What's another argument used by the defense? Anything else that they said? Chad?
They didn't do it personally.
They didn't do it personally. All right. In other words, that's the only following orders business?
No. They didn't personally commit crimes. They didn't personally.
Well, isn't that true? I mean, the foreign minister didn't.
But it's not a defense.
Why not? The foreign minister didn't go out and kill Jews. The head of the Reichsbank didn't kill Jews.
He's the
Right?
conspiracy one, and the war against peace one, and the crimes against peace and the crimes against humanity. He's being charged with that because he's instituting all these death camps and such.
I see. All right. Another line of defense. What else did they say, Lauren?
Well, if they challenged the idea of conspiracy based that the FER principle was an organizational guiding principle.
Exactly. So they're saying that, look, there really was a conspiracy. Hitler obviously didn't act alone. Hitler couldn't have acted alone. And?
The crimes against humanity wasn't valid because they were their own German citizens and they had the right to treat German citizens as they wished, and we couldn't tell them how to treat their people.
Okay, for sure. And what else did the defense say? There is another huge argument. Yes, Taylor.
Well, didn't they say that Nazi law permitted, all the heinous crimes, so that the tribunals didn't have a right to punish them after the fact.
This is all true, yes, good for you, right? Because we're only following German law, and Dave?
It wasn't fair to judge the German leaders by standards that the Allies had violated themselves.
Right. Now, I wonder if that isn't a valid defense. I mean, the Allies firebombed Dresden in Germany, just incinerated 100,000 German civilians. How can we sit in judgment of the Nazis if we committed crimes against humanity too? Now, isn't that a valid point, Henry? Isn't that a valid point?
It is, but we won. Usually the winner gets to establish the terms after the war.
Is that fair, though?
It's not, but that's how war is.
I see. Kyle?
I was just saying that's war.
I see. Chad, doesn't the defense kind of maybe have a point here? I mean, how can we sit in judgment of people when we committed crimes against humanity as well?
I guess maybe address at least that or some semblance of it having something to do with a act of war where there were military institutions that they were bombing. And even though I think Dresden's probably the shadiest example you can come up with, because there wasn't as much military benefit to bombing that as there were some of the other areas. At least it has that purpose, whereas like the death camps, I don't think anyone can really come up with the military objective that those serve.
For sure, for sure. And you're missing the big line of defense. What do you think the main line of defense was? Oh, you must have heard this before. We were only following orders. If we didn't follow orders and carry out the final solution, we and our families would have been killed. So don't sit in judgment of us. Now, how can you argue against that?
You're like, you're high in society, yeah, just leave the country, go where you want.
Do you think that was realistic?
With high officials, he's gonna have-
Okay, I'm just asking Taylor. Yes, of course, you could try it.
I would have done it.
Really?
I would want, how you are something like that.
Mackenzie?
It wasn't just indoctrinated into these Nazi beliefs. It wasn't just a war system. It was an entire way of living. These people got on the Nazi train when it was like a really exciting thing, and the economy was booming because of the Nazis, and like it revitalized Germany. And you're not just going to switch your entire belief set because, like, in their minds, it's justified because that's their. I mean, I'm sure that they thought about it and they weren't happy with all the killing going on, but that was their lifestyle. And like they had been instilled that Nazis are the best people in the world, and you do what you're told, and you're helping the Aryan race. Like you're not gonna flee to another country when you're getting rewarded within your own country for being a hero. Like okay, all these people were dying, but Hitler was telling you you were the best thing since sliced bread, and your family was looking on you to provide for them. Like you can't just say you would flee because you
That's
wouldn't.
why they're
You had.
guilty.
That's
That's why they're guilty. That's why they're guilty.
yeah, but I mean, like, you can't say, like, oh, I would just flee. No, you would not. If you had a family to support and you were indoctrinated into this like, lifestyle, you wouldn't just leave.
Okay, change your mind, Taylor?
No, that's why he's being tried, because he chose to follow orders. He chose to follow them. He didn't have to. He didn't have to.
Did these people really have a choice?
It wasn't much stronger
They
than
choice,
God.
usually they really
Not that
bullet in
strong.
the head.
That's a choice.
I don't think you could
Too
do
many
it if you were one of
people
those top
follow.
officials.
Okay,
Well, if you're among that high circle, Hitler, I would have to assume that Hitler was keeping constant tabs on you at all times. I mean, and even like, for example, if you left, I'm sure there are other people throughout Europe that have connections. Even if he went to America, I'm sure Hitler had connections in America.
there would be repercussions. You're being watched.
Yeah.
Hannah, I wonder if these people had a choice. What do you think about that?
No, I completely agree with Taylor. You always have a choice. Doesn't matter, oh, well, we would have been shot, this and this. Yeah, you might have been shot, but since you're not being shot, another million people are being killed. I mean, really, it's like, I think it just comes down to your morals. I know it's your family and everything, like, try to get them out then. It's just, what you're doing is wrong, despite whatever, like, fear you have is wrong. Like, they had a choice.
Okay, all right, this is important. Chad, so these people that are sitting there in the dock, if they had a choice to walk away, they didn't walk away, they should be found guilty. They had a choice and they blew it, right?
I think just the steps to becoming one of Hitler's top officials involves making that choice. I mean, he didn't just pick 5 random people out of the general population and tell them they had to serve as the upper echelons of the government. I mean, they got there because of what they did, and I think in doing that, they must have already made that choice to go along with these policies that they somewhat agreed with if they wanted to fulfill those responsibilities that Hitler gave them.
Okay. Andrew, your thoughts, and right over to Jane.
I think that had they not liked what Hitler was doing, they should have put up a barrier fight to stopping him. I think as long as they were going